Hello everyone, it's Joey. This is the first episode of the Relationship Audit series, a series where I sit down and I audit your relationships, whether it's your relationships on dating or your relationships on your marriage or your relationships with your best friends or the relationship that you have with yourself. I provide you with a bunch of questions to fill out on a form, and ultimately, I get to know you. And I get to give you advice. And this episode and the series isn't necessarily about me saying, hey, I'm better. Let's pick apart your life and see what you're doing wrong. No, it's actually going to be the opposite. We get so lost in this life on how we're supposed to do it right, that if we don't do it right or if we do it a different way, that it's wrong. I'm not a believer in that. I believe that everything that we do in this life, there's a little bit of good if our actions and our intentions are good. And I want to sit down with you and I want to just help you be a little bit more comfortable with your life. It's something that I find a lot of passion in. Growing up, going to high school parties, I would always get sucked into the heart-to-hearts at parties. I didn't drink or anything, so I was very present. And I always really enjoyed it. As cringy as they were and as much as it feels like they didn't matter now, I really liked helping people realize and understand how they're shaping their lives. And so I want to do that with you. I even to this day, I have conversations with my friends when they go through breakups or when they go through tough times in life. I have a passion for just expressing your feelings. And so where this series is going to start now is I have sent a form to you guys in my Instagram broadcast channel. And I asked you guys to fill out my relationship audit form. And it was a bunch of questions, asking what's the hardest breakup you've been through, what's something that you learned, what's something you want to work on in your relationships, and are you single, are you dating, all of that. And if you've been in the broadcast channel, you know that. And if you're not, I encourage you to join it, and you can fill out the form yourself. I chose 4 people today. I was able to kind of, instead of boring you with every question and answer, I was able to almost make a story out of them. And that's why I asked the certain questions that I did. So let's jump into our first relationship audit. His name is Max. He's 24 and he's single. And he says, I think the most significant relationship I've had was my last one. It ended because I cheated. At least, that's how my ex saw it. I didn't realize at the time, but talking to another girl on Snapchat crossed the line. I wasn't trying to be romantic, but I know now it hurt her deeply, and it ended us. It's hard, especially when talking to somebody online doesn't feel like it's necessarily wrong, because it just feels like you're getting it out. But if you have to justify, and if you have to say, hey, this wasn't wrong, I think deep down you know. It's really tough. I kind of consider this micro-cheating. At the same time, though, I also think it depends how far you're going into certain chats. I think as humans, we love getting close with one another. We love talking about our deep, dark secrets. Even with strangers, it even feels more exhilarating. But I think you have to ask yourself this. Why do I not want to talk to my partner about it? And that's the question you have to pose to yourself. So as great as it feels to talk to somebody on Snapchat or somebody that you don't meet or anything like that, you're thinking to yourself, would they be mad if they found out? There's your answer. Or you could think to yourself, why don't I tell them that I was talking to this person about this thing instead of them finding out? And maybe that's something that they're going to be open to. Nobody knows. I don't know. You don't know until you ask, until you bring it up. And I think it's really exciting. Don't get me wrong. I feel like it's exciting to talk to somebody new, talk to somebody when you feel like it's almost wrong. And if you weren't being romantic, then it shouldn't have been a problem, right? So I think you were. I think deep down, maybe you were. And I think just like any talks about anything somewhat romantic about your personal life, about any talks about your personal life is romantic because it's somebody getting to know you. And I think that's something that you need to keep in mind. It's like your partner probably wasn't mad because you were talking to somebody else. Your partner's mad because you weren't talking to them. And it's not that you can't talk to anyone in the world. It's why are you not talking about these personal things with them? He also says, cheating affected me more than I thought it would. It taught me how fragile trust really is and how quickly it can be lost. If I'm being honest, I've always struggled with trust. I'm usually the one who's left in relationships, and I think my trust issues play a big part in that. This is all speculation, right? Maybe there was a little self-sabotage in that. Maybe it's like, well, they're going to leave me anyways. I might as well just do what I want to do. And I think if we always think like that in relationships, they're always going to end. Obviously, that's me putting words into your mouth, but I have to give kind of like this blanket generic advice because as much as I'm trying to get to know you through a form, I can only know so much. He also says, right now I'm in the middle of a breakup. We're technically on a break. Ross and Rachel, I'm rewatching Friends right now, so that's relevant. But it feels like a breakup, and it's hard. I still want to get back together with her, but I know there are things I need to work on first. That's hard. And I'm going to tell you this as almost like a big brother, I guess. You're 24. I'm 28. Even if you get back together, break up. Treat this as a breakup. You need to come back not just to be in the relationship again and you took a break. You need to come back a totally different person. You need to come back with a mindset that like, okay, you did damage. That hurt. Even if it was little, even if it was a small thing, you did damage and it hurt. And that's something that you have to come back and you need to change before you come back. You can't change as you're coming back, or you can't expect them to help you change. You need to make that change because that's not the person that they thought they were falling in love with. One thing that I've learned is that trust is everything. Without it, nothing else matters. Love has also taught me to never let go of the people that matter most, even when it's hard. I don't think people realize how difficult love can be. It's not just something that happens. It takes work, and sometimes it takes more out of you than you expect. Despite everything, I'm still hopeful. I still want to believe that there's a chance to make things work with her or with someone else, but more importantly, with myself. Of course, there's going to be an opportunity to do something with yourself and with somebody else. But if you truly want to be with her, there wouldn't be thoughts of someone else. So keep that in mind. Now, next, we're going to go on to Taylor. That's a really cool name. This is very interesting. So again, I am 28 years old. I am probably not capable to give this advice, but I want to share this with you because I thought it was an interesting story. 16 and single. I've only had one relationship. We were 13 and we broke up because I guess I cheated. It wasn't something I set out to do, but I worked with someone I started liking more and it just kind of happened. I didn't act on it, but I know it was wrong to feel that way while I was with someone else. Looking back, I think I learned that you can love someone without liking them all the time. Wow. Relationships aren't just about feelings. They're about effort and being willing to step outside your comfort zone to make things work. Damn. dropping just like quotes. One thing I've really never told anyone is that I was the one who wore the pants in that relationship. Dropping the quotes and then dropping that line. That's amazing. I think that's why I'm usually the one who gets left. I tend to take control too much and maybe it scares people off. I also notice that when I get scared in relationships, I pull away instead of trying to fix things. That's something I want to change. That's an interesting thing. You started off saying that you wear the pants and that you take control. But when you get scared, you pull away and you don't fix things. But if you wore the pants and you take control, you would be fixing things. So I think there might be a disconnect in maybe how you feel about yourself. And then when it comes to relationships, when you don't know how you feel about yourself, you're basically defining yourself on how somebody else is treating you. And when you're not getting what you want, you take control instead of asking. And then it ultimately ends up in you getting burnt out and scared in relationships. So then it's easier to just stop trying and pull away. And so I don't think you wear the pants. I think that you need to look in the mirror and have a solid conversation with yourself about what you enjoy, what you like. And it's interesting because when I was 13, I was in a relationship. And that's why I wanted to pick this, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like, whoa, well, great. I was when I am when I was 13. I think relationships are probably getting younger nowadays, especially with the accessibility to dating. I think Snapchat and Instagram are basically dating apps. There's DMs, you can send photos, so it's very scary. She also says, I was left on my own a lot growing up, and that's why I cling to people so much when I'm in a relationship. But even though I've only had one, I'm excited for the next one. I'm ready to take what I've learned and try again. Hey, I think that's amazing. I think it doesn't seem like your relationship is too set in stone if all you did was talk to somebody else. And I want to, this is going to be controversial. You're going to have feelings while talking to somebody else. They're going to feel exciting, especially like people have work wives and work husbands. And that's just because when we're close to people, we feel things. And it's okay to feel things. You can't live this entire life thinking that you're only going to feel things for one person. We're going to feel things. And it's okay. But it's about being open with your partner and saying, I have this best friend at work. We're getting really close, blah, blah, blah. And voicing maybe the boundaries that you want to set for yourself, or maybe the boundaries that they're looking to set for you. And I think that needs to be the conversation that needs to be had, even though it's friggin' scary. It's terrifying. But if you're worried about anything happening, if it's out in the know, there's no worry, right? If you tell them, hey, I'm in a relationship, and you go home and you tell your partner that I'm in a relationship, this person's talking to me, I really like them, or really good friends, but I do want to stay with you. And I think that's ultimately the best thing that you can do. Now, granted, you're 16. You're not going home to tell somebody this. So I think you're just also living life. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay. Now going on to our next one. Sid, 20, and dating. In my past relationship, I emotionally cheated. That's actually really interesting. Emotionally cheated. What does that mean? I want to know, and I don't want to just Google it, because I obviously know what emotionally cheated is, but like, where's the line? Is it just everything but physical? I say I started talking to someone else while I was still with my partner. I didn't mean to hurt them, but I know I did. And it created a lot of distrust between us. Eventually, it became too much, and we ended things. It was hard to admit, but I've realized the emotional cheating can be just as damaging as the physical cheating. It's something I deeply regret, and it's taught me how important boundaries and communication are in relationships. Okay. I got nothing to say. Yeah. I've noticed a pattern in my relationship where I let fear of things not working out push me to make bad decisions. I know I need to be more intentional about how I handle my feelings and my relationships moving forward. I don't want to dismiss that so quickly. They say I've noticed a pattern in my relationships where I let fear of things not working out push me to make bad decisions. I think it's kind of what we were talking about in the last audit is it's easy to give up. Mistakes are going to be made. You're not perfect. We're not. You're going to make mistakes in relationships. You're going to talk to people. You're going to feel things. At the end of the day, it's about you coming home and you being happy and you understanding and realizing that that's the life that you want. And then you have to go into the office or go talk to that person that you feel like you're emotionally cheating with and make that change. And if you don't, you're not any better than somebody who's physically cheating, because your mind and your heart aren't in a relationship. If the communication isn't there, it's not there. The love isn't there. And so noticing a pattern in your relationships, fear of things not working out, push me to make bad decisions. What do you mean the fear of things not working out? What does that mean? Expand on that. Why are you scared? Why do you feel that things aren't working out? If they're not working out, why is that not a conversation in the relationship? Is it because you want it to end? Is it because the fear is you not confronting your feelings that maybe this person isn't the one for you? Those are questions that you need to ask yourself, but we can't just blame fear. Fear is the thing that drives us every single day. It's everything, but if it's the base thing, then it stems to other things. And I personally think when I feel fear, there's a reason. It's not just because I'm scared. I'm scared because I'm not just scared because it might not work out. I'm scared because I don't want to be alone. Because when it doesn't work out, I'm alone and I'm scared to be alone again. Maybe that's the reason. And when we dig deep and we find out these feelings, it can be scary, it can be terrifying, but at the same time, it's very comforting because you're finally able to realize and understand who you are as a person. And I think cheating happens when we don't understand what we want in life. what we need and we don't feel comfortable, or maybe we're not experiencing enough discomfort. You need to ask yourself these questions. Cheating happens when we don't acknowledge how we feel. It's almost easier to self-sabotage and to hurt other people. Because then you're like, oh, okay, well, it's me. Of course I'm going to hurt other people. Of course it's not going to work out. It's me. And the blame goes on you. And you've been blaming yourself your entire life. Maybe your parents never thought you were good enough, or maybe your parents always wanted you to get an A, and the one time you got an A minus, they were like, well, it could have been an A plus. Maybe there's things like that, and you're just like, well, I take the hits no matter what. What's another one? What's another relationship down the drain? And so it kind of goes back to, how do you feel about yourself? And if it's somebody that you truly love, is it worth taking this pain out on them? Not with them, on them. So going on to our last audit, Dylan, 22 and single. I've cheated before. I don't like to talk about it, but it's something I did. And it ended the relationship. I didn't realize at the time how much it would hurt both of us, but looking back, I can see the damage it caused. Cheating is a really, really hard thing to talk about. And I have to say, I know there was only 4 people, but to come forward and say this, even if it's anonymously, it's very strong. It's very strong to admit. Dylan also says, cheating made me more aware of how important honesty is. It's not just about being honest with your partner, it's about being honest with yourself. I think I've spent a lot of time avoiding my own feelings and not addressing what's really going on in my relationships. So when it comes to honesty, I really like what he said. Honesty comes in waves. And when we sit down and we need to be honest with people, it's really amazing. It's an amazing thing that people can do. And when it comes to cheating, honesty needs to come first. Honesty needs to come before it happens. And that's the only way it's going to prevent it from happening. You need to be honest with yourself and you need to be honest with your partner. Because the honesty afterwards, it matters to you. It doesn't matter to them in a way. I hope you understand what I meant there. It's going to ruin a relationship. And it doesn't mean that a new relationship can't bloom and blossom out of that. But there needs to be that change. There needs to be that breakup. And we don't always have to associate breakups with being bad, but maybe the breakups are needed. Maybe we have to let our breakups break us in order to find love again and become strangers again and fall in love again. And it's really powerful that you're saying that you've been avoiding your own feelings and not addressing what's really going on in relationships. Because maybe it's not about the lack of love for the other person, but maybe it's about the lack of love that you feel in the relationship because maybe you're not bringing your full self to it. Maybe you're leaving that honesty and love for yourself at home. And a really important thing to understand in relationships is that people fall in love with us for who we are. And they want to get to know us and they want to get to feel our feelings. And the reason why they fall in love with us is because of who we are. Oftentimes, cheating happens in relationships because they get boring and they get stale and nothing's new and nothing's exciting. And the reason why is because we stop being ourselves. And maybe your partner stopped being themselves. And you become one. And things become friggin' boring. You do the same thing. You just watch Netflix every night and then you go to bed. That's why when we get into relationships, we have to keep dating. The number one reason why relationships end is because people stop dating. Relationships aren't the finish line. Getting married isn't a finish line. Having kids, having a family, that's not the finish line. Our entire life is a journey. There is no finish line. Enjoy the trip, enjoy the moments, enjoy the hard times, and enjoy being honest. Because to be honest with you, you need to fight. You need to have arguments. And the reason why is because when we have arguments in our relationships, we get a glimpse of seeing the person that we fell in love with, who they are. We haven't seen them in so long because we've morphed into one person. And to see them stand up for something makes us feel love. The best honesty comes first, but it also comes in waves. And I think that's also something to notice. Sometimes when we go so long without being honest or without saying how we truly feel, it just gets deeper and deeper inside of us. And then so when we say that a little piece of honesty to our partner and we're coming out with something, sometimes not all of that can come out at once. Sometimes it does come out in pieces and pieces and pieces. And so as a partner, if you have somebody that confessed that they cheated or that they did something wrong, it's up to you to handle how you want to handle that. Maybe it's something not that drastic. Maybe it's not as much as cheating. Maybe it's just about them, I don't know, saying they would take out the garbage when they didn't, or little things like that. But appreciate that piece of honesty, that nugget. Even if it doesn't come all at once, if you take the time to just cherish that somebody just opened up their heart to you, it's going to create for a really strong relationship, even if it's breaking a little right now. And so that's it. Those are my 4 relationship audits. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know. I love doing this. It connects me more with you. I really lost my passion for just sitting here and talking to myself all the time. And I want to help you, and I want to get to know you more and build a community. And that is something that I'm working on in the background. So I will have some new things in the works, but please let me know if you like me just reading, if you would like somebody to call in or leave a voice note, or ultimately the in-person sessions, which are something that I do want to try. I just need to find people and test it out and make sure people are comfortable, because asking people to come and sit down and air out their entire relationship or their life in front of the world is pretty scary and daunting. So I understand that people don't want to do it, but I think it would help a lot of people. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. If you watched on Spotify or on YouTube, I appreciate every single one of you. Stay beautiful, and I'll talk to you guys next time.